my Wi-Fi here. Okay, we're on here also. We are live. Greetings, everybody. We are so glad you're joining us. Thank you for accommodating us on our new time tonight. I wanted to get everybody in here that was available. I wanted to do the webinar a few weeks ago, actually a week after the hurricane, but we were busy actually working. We had much to do, and during the week or the second week after the hurricane, the people in the community started getting power, so they were leaving. So I was hoping to do it at that time, but it just wasn't the right opportunity for all of us. But welcome, everybody. We see you online. Oh, my goodness. Lance and Lisa in the UK, you're still awake. Is it like midnight? I can't believe you're on. Nicole, South Carolina, of course. Hi, Nicole. Vanessa from the Netherlands. Aren't you in bed? You're always on. I'm amazed. I thought for sure you guys would be asleep. But it's so good to see you. Paul in Denver. Hi, Paul. Good seeing you. And another one from the Netherlands. You guys are something else in the Netherlands. Oh, Benita in Naples. Hi, Benita. Good to see you. Okay, Grace is here. Hi, Grace. And then we have Danielle. Hello. Hi, everybody. Okay, you guys on Facebook can't see what we see, but if you can, go on the webinar jam. And we have, I think Rose will be joining us. Some people are just getting off of work, and that's why we rescheduled this a little bit later to accommodate everybody. Hi, Denise. Good to see you. And Melva from Dallas. And Nancy in New Jersey. Hi, girls. Those are the dangerous girls up there. We know who you are. And Zubin. Hi, Zubin. Oh, Messina's on also. Hi, Messina. Good to see you. California's in the house. Yes, East Coast, West Coast come together. Zubin, where are you from?
Pakistan.
Are you from Pakistan? Wow. Wow. We have the Middle East joining us in Eastern Standard Time. Ada's on, of course. Hi, Ada. Good to see you. And I'm trying to go back and forth. All right, another one from Colorado. Kaya. I hope I got it right. Okay, so welcome, everybody. I could be here all day greeting you guys, but we're going to get right into it. What we're going to do is each of us are going to share the experiences that we had and our takeaway with the aftermath of it, and seeing how a community operates, seeing how Kingdom Principles operate. It was kind of the whole gamut we want to encounter. So I wanted everyone's perspective to be heard, not just mine. You guys hear from me all the time. Even as the eye approached, you guys were coming online with me. And even during the eye of the storm, we were together. Hi, Natalie, Chris, good seeing you. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through the community, and everyone's going to share their experience, their takeaway, the biggest lessons they learned going through a hurricane. Now, you know, when the hurricane approached, you know, we were watching it coming, we had the power still, but then right as it was hitting us, the eye wall, we lost power. It was about 30 minutes before the eye wall hit. So I wasn't sure until today actually what category it was, because as soon as it came and left, then you get into work mode, and we didn't have cable for, I don't remember, 3 or 4 days. But even when I did eventually come on, I was, you know, we were all working day and night around here. So I just now in week 3, I Googled what it was. It was only category 3. Well, he says only. Oh my God. So in my world, a 3 is just a blimp on the radar. A 4 is serious. A 5, get out of Dodge. I'm out of here. Just FYI, so everybody knows, Trista Sue is not sticking around for a 5, and neither should anybody else. Now, originally, when it was coming through, they did forecast it as a 5, and I did make plans to actually evacuate with my family. And of course, you guys know that we have a jet plane, and to get it out of harm's way also is the prudent thing to do. So that was our original plan. But then the next morning, I found out it was going to be a 3 or 4, and we thought it was going to be on the other coast. So I canceled my plans. I talked my husband into actually staying, and this was the first hurricane he's actually stayed for. He's ran from all the other ones I met him before he got married. So the whole hurricane, I was like, I'm so proud of you for staying and not running from a hurricane, honey. And how was it? How was your experience? So anyway, we had a lot of fun with that. But on another note, right now we're speaking about the aftermath, but that being said, honestly, my heart and mind is with the Caribbean islands, with Puerto Rico, the devastation that is going on there. They got double whammy. They were hit twice. And this last one was a 5, and that is not a joke. We experienced a 3. We were out of power for a few weeks, of course, not at the hotel. But, majority of the 300,000 people, there's 300 residents in Naples. Those that evacuated weren't affected clearly. And just FYI, the day before the hurricane, we did have mandatory evacuation. So it was serious because of the storm surge, which was a legitimate issue in our low coastal area here. Now, of course, those of you that have been to the hotel, you've come to the conferences, you understand, on the second, third, fourth floor, you're 30, 40, 50 feet high. So I wasn't concerned. I had no fear whatsoever during the whole thing. And so as you could tell from the videos and the live feeds, neither did my kids. Nobody here had any fear, but we do understand that, and this is one thing I've been thinking about. When they announced, the hurricane came on a Sunday. It was on a Monday or Tuesday. We had to make a decision to leave or not because our airport was closing on Wednesday. It has to close 72 hours before the hurricane winds start approaching. So we had a small window to get out with our aircraft. And I had to sit and come to a realization. And I remember sitting in my bed, I believe it was Monday, and deep, deep, deep in my spirit, I said, okay, the storm is coming here. I know it is. And whether it was projected or not to come here, I knew it was coming. And I still spoke to the storm regardless. FYI, I told it to dissipate. I told it to go north. I told it to go everywhere I could think of it to go and primarily dissipate, but it didn't. So, that's one thing. We'll put that on the shelf for now. But it was interesting because deep in my spirit, I knew it was coming. I didn't know what category it would be. You don't know. They have the spaghetti plots going everywhere. They have the European model, the American model. So in the natural, you're going by facts, which facts change, right? But what you have to do is go by the truth that you know in your heart. And I got to tell you, it was Monday. That hurricane didn't come till Sunday, but I know deep in my heart it was coming here. I knew it. And I had to decide, okay, if it's category 5, I'm leaving. If it's less, I'm staying. But I knew it was coming. Even though throughout that week, I did continue to tell it where to go. But it was ironic because I knew it was coming. And I don't know how to explain that in English besides there's something deep inside that you know. And I knew it was coming here. And sure enough, it sure darn did. So that being said, I want to go around the room now. And so everybody can share their experience, the biggest takeaway, the big lessons they've learned coming from spiritual principles as well. And now we're trading seats. Musical chairs.
You're making sure they don't.
Okay. Brittany, why don't you come and sit here so people can see you on and we'll trade spots. Did you have notes?
No.
Okay.
I don't have notes. Hey guys. So my experience or my takeaway from the hurricane. Now, growing up, I'm from Florida, so I've been through hurricanes. I lived through Hurricane Charlie. My parents didn't leave. And the same experience. It was a category 3, and it came over where we lived. So it really wasn't something that I was worried about. And I didn't want to leave because I knew that even if we told the storm to dissipate and it still came, we would still be taken care of because we did our part of having dominion over the storm and taking care of our resources and managing them well. So I knew that whatever happened, it would come out for the good of us and for the good of the kingdom. So my experience really was just kind of watching the good of God and the good of the kingdom being put into action. Whether we had damage around the community, which we did, but we were able to still pick up the pieces and be a representation of what the kingdom really was. We used our resources, not only managed them before the hurricane, but managed them well after, using them for the community, which is really what they're here for anyways. So with that all being said, that in a nutshell was my experience, just watching the kingdom being put on display basically for the community throughout the storm, because you guys were able to watch the storm on Facebook Live with Trista. But then also after the storm, with the aftermath, the hotel is Trista's resource, and it was up and running within 36 to 48 hours.
26 hours.
Oh, 26 hours. Well, there you go, even faster than I thought. And it was up and running and ready for people to take shelter in. So that is very fast. Most places, I believe, the hotels around us, it took probably about 5 days or so.
Oh, I meant when we got power.
Yeah, well, I mean, like,
26
the other
hours.
hotels didn't have power for like about 5 days or so, and then they still had damage, so they weren't able to be that shelter. But the resource of a kingdom-minded person was able to be a shelter and a resource for those in the community, not only showing them the good of people in the community, but the good of the person that owns the resource and the person that manages the resource. So in a nutshell, it was all kingdom really showed in the experience, to be honest. That was my experience. It really wasn't a hoopla scared type thing, because I lived this my whole life.
Right.
I'm a Florida citizen.
Yeah.
I'm true native. We don't leave for the storms. We understand it's just a storm. There's wind, rain, and unless it's a 5. I haven't lived through a 5, so I guess I wouldn't be able to. Yes, you use wisdom, but I've lived through 3s, so I wasn't really afraid of studying. So. But that's my in a nutshell experience.
Yes.
Sheila's your turn.
Sheila's up. Everybody, this is Sheila. She's been helping us so much with Haiti translations and everything with the School of Influence. She's a godsend.
Oh, thank you. My takeaway from the hurricane, from this storm that we went through, is amazing. I have been here for many hurricanes before, but I have not lived my life purposely. It was amazing. I felt like a child in a candy store. The reason being is to observe before the storm, you prepared, you do everything you have to do, and you have in the middle of the storm where there is such a quietness to know where your anchor, where are you standing. We were standing on solid ground in a community, and what I was very thankful for is all the teaching we've been doing, all the teaching Trista been sharing with us. She always said they are time-tested principles. And for me, it was everyone in our small community was being tested or one way or another. And I was personally, because I was not afraid. And I knew I was with my community. I felt like that was the safest place for me to be. And in the middle, that's the part I enjoy, is the silence. There is such a light, there is such a silence. And I was upstairs looking at the window, and I saw Trista downstairs with her children going Facebook Live. And I'm going, what an amazing, we know there's going to be storm in life, but yet you know where are you standing. You know that they will come. You will not be shaking because you are standing on solid ground. And that's the part I take away. The aftermath was also amazing to me. I had visited many places that were lacking electricity or cable, and yet the people were very strong. They wasn't breaking apart. No one was chaotic, frantic. I went to Immokalee, I went to my neighborhood, and everyone was, okay, we can do it. And we can do it. We are strong. The part that I also take away was my family were all there whether they were here in the presence, but there was a sense that I personally had to be here for the other members of my family to understand what it is to live in the kingdom community. And that's the part I take away. And I have been sharing it all morning with the parent and the student in my school. And regard of that storm that came, everything in life has a purpose, even the storm. I had taken a lot out of it. And it will take me a while to put it into the three parts. Before the hurricane, which is the preparation, and the middle of it, which is the silence, and the aftermath of it. And once again, our heart goes out to the people of Puerto Rico and all the other islands that are affected by it, because we understand. That's my part. Thank you, everyone.
Sue, I love you.
Awesome.
Good job.
Well, I too prayed for the hurricane to go somewhere else, and it wasn't. So I kind of got mad because I'm in school right now, and it was my finals week. I was like, okay, this is not going to happen right now. I said, no. You said that if we pray and we have authority in the earth, it's got to go, right? And it keeps coming. I'm like, okay. So then I said, okay, this is how it's going to go down, God. If you don't pull this out, if you don't come through, and I'm talking about like if you don't protect our houses, if you don't like get me power enough to get back on to finish my finals, all these things, because I'm in my purpose. I'm like smack in the middle of it. I said, I'm done with you. I'm done with the community, because this stuff here, it needs to work. And so I challenged him as a son. But this is the thing. You got to be straight, right? I pay my taxes. My character's great. I treat my wife good. You know, I check myself before I prayed that. I check it. I'm like, okay, I can say this. I can say this because I'm right. So you need to pull this off. Because I was so serious. I mean, my wife came in just like, she's, what are we going to do? I said, well, we're going to the hotel. I said, we're not going to board anything up. I said, I ain't got time for that. I said, because I know this, two things are going to happen. Either he comes through or I'm done. So I'm not, it's like, even with that, I had peace. Because one of the other is going to happen because I keep my word, right? And God knows this with me and him. If I say that, I mean it. But again, I have to be straight. So I knew that, you know what? I'm straight. I know what I'm doing. I'm in my purpose. So I know nothing's going to... Right standings. I'm sorry. Right standings. Right? Because this is about keeping the law, obeying law, right? And this is what one of the coolest things that came out of this too was at work. I work with 3 Christians, born again, blood bought. Okay. Jesus is the Lord. Okay. Got it. All right. They know I'm a kingdom citizen. They know this, right? I go back to work on Tuesday after everything's gone, or after the hurricane, all that. All of them were affected. One of them got flooded. None of them got power. They're all trying to figure out what to do. And they come to me. They're like, hey, so how you doing? I'm doing great. You got power? I'm like, yeah, I'm at a hotel. We got light. We got food. I'm golden. And they're looking at me like, right? And then I told them, I'm a kingdom citizen, right? I mean, isn't that how this works, right? And they just looked at me like, okay, if he's saved and we're saved, where's this difference going? Like, what? Because to me, I'm thinking, I've read it, right? God isn't, he's not a God of, he doesn't favor one and the other, right? But this is the thing. I have kingdom citizenship. They rely on their membership of a religion, right? So, and I just turned to her. She asked me, she was, how is this possible? I said, because I'm a kingdom citizen, right? And she just looked at me kind of like confused, like, what do I do with this, right? Like, I mean, he's right, but at the same time, like, and so for me, like, this was the moment where God says, okay, I showed up. Here's the proof, right? Because you are now testifying that I come through for my kingdom citizens. Don't get me wrong, they're good people, good Christians. But there's a difference between kingdom citizenship and membership, right? And that's a real thing. So for me, even for my own personal life, the hurricane helped to change my wife's faith, which I've been praying for a couple months and things. So he did come through, right? And so I can testify, like, he really, because this is our first hurricane, and I didn't know what to expect. But I also had peace about it, because I'm like, I know we're in our purpose, man. Plus, he's not going to destroy the very place where we come and teach you guys the kingdom. So it doesn't, I'm like, we're good, like, because he's not going to do that, right? So obviously it's a test. All right, cool. This is and it was displayed. And the coolest thing too, even just physically, when you go in the city that night, it's totally pitch black. I mean, the city is dark. The only beacon of light was this hotel. Literally, like, if you were in the dark, you were looking for the light, boom.
It was true.
There's the Bayfront Inn on the corner. You can't miss it. And I'm thinking, I'm like, man, you are so cool. Are you kidding me? Literally the beacon of light for this city. And people start coming in. And yet, I mean, and the group, the team was here. It was funny because, we're all here, so everyone can just pitch in and help out for those who are coming. Thinking, man, this is awesome. So this thing is way bigger than us, right? Even though we didn't want the storm to come, but just like Sheila said, even the storm has a purpose, right? And so it was awesome, man. I was like, yeah, that's okay. You got it. Cool. But at the same time, like, it's okay to to challenge him in the sense of like, because you don't know, but because we did all have peace. I told my wife, don't worry about it. It's going to be okay. I don't know what's going to happen, but I know that it's going to be okay.
Right.
And so the very thing even that I was trying to protect her from, because I was trying to get her out of here, something happened for her to stay here, and I know why, because she's going to tell you a little bit. And I was like, okay, that's cool, like, because it changed a lot. I mean, it made things so much easier to help her understand. So, yeah, that's what I took away from, like, you know what, kingdom citizenship is real, staying in the right standing is real, but you have to, like, I mean, all the way through. Do you understand? You can't just verbalize it.
Right.
You have to, like, it's you got to be there, man, everywhere, just straight. When I mean straight, in right standing with your king. Because why would something not happen to us and others who say they serve the same king? Okay? Why? So we got to check that. And I'm hoping that those people, later on will tell me, hey, can we talk? How does this work? Because again, they know, but I don't preach it to them. I learned my lesson right away. It's like, that just show it to them, right? And he's on display, right? But I'm there. I'm the representative. It's okay, cool. And they know me, right? So it was a cool thing to just see that I know that out of those three, hopefully one kind of just got it. Like, man, there's something to this and what he's talking about, because he's actually living it. Like, to be honest with you, like, it felt like we didn't skip a beat.
Right.
Like, people tell my wife, like, how are we guys? They're like looking for the sob story. We're like, that's good. Like, we had light, we got food. They're like, what? I mean, they're freaking out because some people just got power on last week, this Thursday and Friday. 2 weeks. I said, God, look, I need power now in my house because I got stuff to do in the studio. I said, I got to pass my finals. You told me to go to school. You told me, so come on, like, I got to get this going, right? And he did. And you know what's cool, too? Everyone back in my neighborhood, there's a carport across from us. Totally damaged. Ours, nothing. Where we're staying at, nothing. Just a little bit of water in the front door. I mean, we didn't board up the windows. Those windows are old. The tree that we were just complaining about not having enough light went the other way and gave us a bunch of light. I was like,
we have natural light in our house now.
I was like, this is so cool, right? And nothing happened. There's roofs in our neighborhood that went clear off. People you see on their on the streets, everything on the inside is on the curb. Like I told the angels, listen, I'm leaving. Don't you better protect this place, because I need to come back and I got to record stuff for school. I said, I need to get back into the groove. So protect this place. I'm telling you, the lanai, nothing got damaged. Nothing. No water in the patio. We could have left everything outside and it wouldn't have been touched. I was like, man, this stuff really works. Because this is my first hurricane. And, 3, they've hit around 3, but 3's 3, 100 miles an hour. It's still, hey, it's going to do some damage, right? So you know what, man? Kingdom citizenship, I'm telling you, is the only thing. But you have to stay in right standing. Do you understand? Obviously, we teach it, but I don't know if you guys, if there's anyone here that's new to this or whatever, I'm telling you, this stuff works, right? I'm not a super spiritual person. I'm not a weirdo. I'm not religious. And let me tell you, when you put it to the test, your creator will show up. But you got to make sure that you can back up your stuff for that to work, right? So you keep it clean and he'll deliver, right? You got to, that's how this works, man. And I'm telling you, it was amazing. Like first hurricane, I've never seen anything like it before. And just seeing the community come together. And I know that people were like, our sense of peace kept everyone at peace.
Yeah, that's true.
Because they're like, okay, well, they're not freaking out. Everyone's texting me like, hey, you tell me you're not in Florida. I'm like, bro, I'm right in the middle of it. Like, you're crazy. Hence DJ Crazy X, right? Like, okay, well, that's how I got my name. Right? I'm out there DJing out there for everyone because I'm like, you know what? We need to like just let the people like know it's gonna be okay.
That's right.
Right? So I played some music. It's good, man. Like, don't worry, we're here. It's not. I love it when Papa would tell people like, you're if you're with me, I'm a good man to be with.
That's true.
So, you guys, everyone that was here, they were good. They were safe because we were here.
That's true.
Okay, so it was amazing. It's almost, I want to say, let's do another hurricane. Like, no, I'm sorry. I'm just saying. I know.
All right, your wife's up. Let's go.
Smiley faces. Okay, so my name is Deja. I'm his wife. He is crazy, by the way. So first, I'm not a public speaker, so just bear with me. I'm actually a writer. So this is my first hurricane, and my husband's been a part of the group for a few years now, and like I live in my purpose, but I do my own thing. This is his passion. And I was actually getting ready to go see my family back home. And that Thursday I was getting ready to leave and I get to the airport and my flight had been delayed like 3 hours. And so I was actually going to be able to go to my connecting flight, but then from there wasn't going to be able to get home. And knowing after the hurricane, I would have been stranded if I had said, yeah, let me get to my connecting flight. I would have been stranded for probably a week because there was like no gasoline around here. There was nothing. So anyways, didn't get to go. And my husband said, okay, we're going to go to the hotel and we're going to stay there. It's going to be all good. And I woke up on Friday morning and a scripture popped into my head. And it was Isaiah 41:10. So it said, fear not. And so, I woke up out of a dead sleep and I was thinking about fear not. And so I said, okay, you know what? I'm going to put this to the test and I'm going to see if this is real because I have never really been through anything super detrimental to where like you really put your faith to the test. So I was like, you know what? I'm not going to worry about anything. I'm just going to ride this out. And if this is a sham, then I'm done. So then I'm just going to keep doing my own thing because obviously my house is going to blow away, then whatever. So, we took some of our like valuables, his DJ equipment, obviously, so we could do school. So just in case. So we took his equipment, a couple personal belongings, and we came to the hotel. And the hurricane itself was actually a cool experience on our end. Just like, obviously we were safe. We were in a safe place. So, I mean, again, I really feel for those that experienced the hurricane down in the Caribbean and have lost everything. So I want to make sure that I'm still sensitive to that. But in my experience personally being here at the hotel, I felt very safe. And so I felt kind of like a child, where like a child can just kind of like run around and play and just like be excited because they don't know what really is going on. And so, we're like on Facebook Live and, we're like live in the storm and our, friends and family back home are like freaking out. I mean, they are just like losing their minds. They're glued to the news. We didn't even really have any news. And it was really cool. And again, there was that calming of the storm and it was just that very like peaceful moment. And then the crazy part was afterwards. And you probably saw Trista's live feed just like a week ago, I think it was, about seeing how this community really became a shelter for people. And I mean, Trista like literally allowed everyone and their mom and their family and their dogs and cats and kids to come in and stay. Like literally no joke.
Yeah.
I mean, I was cleaning up like dog pee in the room. So, you know, it was literally animals were here. So it was a shelter. It was a shelter for everybody.
Like
and
an ark.
literally.
No,
So it was a shelter for everybody. And, you know, I told Trista, I said, hey, I want to earn my stay. So if you guys need some help with cleanup, and I was thinking like cleaning up like leaves and like trees outside, like I was ready to do like the dirty work, you know? And so they're like, okay, well, we need people to make beds and clean the rooms. So I said, okay, let's do it. So, you know, we like clean the rooms, make all the beds, like make everything all pretty. Had to kind of go around behind all the guys that are making the beds and like remake them all really pretty with like a woman's touch.
Yes.
But you know, and it was like really cool to see people being able to come in and find shelter here. Like I really got to see the heart of everyone in this community and how they really do come together. Everything that they talk about on their live feeds, the webinars, the seminars that you guys probably see, everything they say is for real. And that meant a lot to me because I don't know, like I really got to see everything for what it was. And so it was a true test. It was a true test of faith. And the minute we didn't get power for probably like about 4 days, we were here in the hotel. When we finally got power, we went home. And when I walked into my front door, I was just almost like expecting to just like not have a roof, right? And not have anything. Like my stuff was going to be ruined. But in the moment I was like, you know, I don't care. It's just stuff. Like we'll move through, we'll take care of it. But when we got home, there was no water, no screens busted out. Like everything was fine. And I thought, oh my gosh, this is the real deal. So honestly, like I said, I've really never been to church. I am not a religious person. I couldn't quote you pretty much anything from the Bible, so never even really read it. I know, but it came to me. But it came to me. Literally, I've never read the Bible. I've read like a few things that are in red, but that's about it. So
That's what you need to read.
yeah. So the Isaiah 41:10, like I just said, just came to me. Like it just was right there. And I was like, oh, let me look that up. And I was like, oh my God, fear not. How crazy is that? So, but yeah, but like I said, you know, not a religious person, but this community is the real deal. Everything my husband's been telling me for the past forever is the real deal. And I could go through another hurricane and not be scared. Like I'll probably never be scared of anything just because I'm like, well, it's all in God's hands. So thank you for letting me share. And now it's going to be someone else's turn. So, okay, bye.
Rose is up.
Hello, everybody. All right, what happened? What can I share? It's so much, but let me think about it. Take the glasses off.
Remember when we were talking about like we don't have to sit and pray?
Yes. Before I even get to that part, because it started at home. During the week in the preparation, they were telling us, okay, we're going to get this storm and, you know, get ready. This is not my first time. I'm raised in Florida, in Miami to be exact, went through several hurricanes, one of the biggest ones, which was the Andrew, before this Irma hurricane. So you watch the news because you want to know what's going on. Right? So you pay attention, you say, okay, the storm is coming. What's going on? What do I need to do? Where is it going? Which way? You know, so you watch that. But at the same time, you yourself need to be in tune with God. You need to know, okay, all right, God, here's the deal. What's going on here? And then what happened with me, I kind of disconnect myself from that by paying attention to the news. So you got to be careful what you're listening to. What are you following? Yes, we want to use wisdom and be wise and pay attention to the news and everything. But at the same time, you want to tune into the Creator. the one that's in charge. So as we were getting ready, Vaughn is away. He's working. He's back, and he's working long hours. And they telling him, he works for a youth facility, and they're saying he has to stay so he can evacuate the program. And I'm like, wait a minute, he got to take care of his family. Well, make sure we good. And so the little hours that they were giving him, he had to make sure we were good. So he would come down and get that done. And at the same time, I'm like, okay, I don't know what to do, but I know what to do, but I don't know what to do. So we were texting in the community, sending text message. Everybody was saying what they were going to do or whatever. And I think Trista or Debbie sent them text message, hey, if you guys thinking about wanting to stay at the hotel, you can. That's an option. I said, you know what? It was that Tuesday, and I was riding to work, and I thought about it. I said, maybe I need to make the reservations. Go ahead and just make the reservations just in case. So I did. And then later on that week, to be exact, that Saturday morning, as we're getting ready, we know this storm is coming to us, and we're definitely going to be affected by it. So I thought about it, and I'm like, oh, my God, I kind of start to get a little worried. Again, listening to what other people are saying, people at work, and what the news is saying, not staying in tune to God and to the Holy Spirit to kind of, direct me in this. Because, again, I've been through this before. So Vaughn was getting ready to get back to work, and I think Debbie sent a text, hey, Rose, are you guys still coming? I totally forgot I made the reservation. I said, oh, that's where we're going. Because I'm like, I didn't know what we were going to do at this point. So Vaughn is out. I think I even upset at Vaughn at that time because I was like, Vaughn, what are we going to do? Going to work? What are we going to do? And he was like, well, what you want? It kind of like, now he's upset. So he went out the door, and then I texted him. I said, hey, we're going to the hotel. Debbie said, we're going to the hotel. And he said, okay, let's go. So we packed everything up. I had my mother-in-law, my kids, my daughter, my granddaughter. I mean, we had 2 loads of cars, of the family, 2 carload family members and stuff to go to the hotel. So we get here. All right. Long story short, the hurricane night. Everything's going on. We're here. We're safe. I didn't even know the community was here. The members, what I'm saying. I didn't know all of us was here. I really didn't. I went in the room and I just laid down, kind of rest because it was a long week for me. So when I got up from my nap, I was in the hallway and I see Trista, and then I think I saw Deja, and I'm like, oh, you guys are here. This is great. And then so we started walking around, and I'm like, oh, I didn't know everybody was here. And later on, he said he was going to DJ. I'm like, hey, that's what's up. So I'm like, yeah, I'm going live to show people we safe, and DJ's about to play and spin, and at the same time, as I'm going live, and family members are texting, y'all crazy, you need to get leave. I'm like, no, we're here. We stayed. I feel safe, and again, if I continued to listen to them telling me, hey, you need to leave. That's a bad hurricane. You're talking about flood waters, as high as a building, So we didn't. We were here. We were good. Again, it's like everything was just lining up. I didn't have to go run for gas and board up my windows. And it's like I felt at peace because I just, like, several others said, you felt like, okay, this is your stuff. Yeah, I know I did one on that, but I said, God, this is your stuff. This is your stuff. So I'm just a manager over this stuff. So, we out, and we made it here. And that's all I could, I like I said, I came here and I took a nap. Came and laid down and took a nap. My family was good. The kids were good. Vaughn had made it in. He was good. So I was good. And then, I was standing in the hall talking to Trista. I think it was during the storm or maybe after the storm. The storm had passed. I'm not sure. Yeah. But it was so much. And I was just telling Trista, you know what? It was after the storm. I said, we didn't have to do anything. anything. I didn't have to go do all this, going to the grocery store, standing in these long lines and packing up stuff, gassing up to get on the road and making sure the kids are in the car and fleeing and whatever. I mean, that's okay for those of you who did that. But I didn't have to. I didn't have to do that. I didn't have to run. I didn't, and I thought about it. I said, well, you know what? I was born in the Bahamas, and I was raised in Miami. When the storm comes, you don't run.
There's nowhere to go.
There's nowhere to go. You stay there. You find shelter. You find they say the smallest room in the house. You and the family, 4 corners, and you're safe. And if you have to move, you find the next room. There's no running. So that's what we did. And I feel like, we were in the right place.
So Rose, to expound on the conversation you and I had.
Yes.
So did us as a community get together and intercede in the meeting room?
No, that's the other part. Yeah, and I said we didn't go out and let's pray to the ocean in the wind.
Worship?
And we didn't have a worship time. There was no
blow the shofar.
None of that. I mean, no praying oils. Listen, I come from the black church. They would have the anointed oil everywhere. Let's anoint everything. Let's just make sure, cover everything in the blood of Jesus. All that would have been going on. But thank God for the kingdom. There's no toiling. There's none of that. You just stay in right standing, all things, and seek first the kingdom of God. Remain in right standing, and all things are added. And that's what happened for us.
Right.
That's my story.
And then the crisis becomes an opportunity for us.
Yes.
Like
Right.
it did.
Right. And you be that light. Yeah. You are the light. And God shows, you don't even have to do anything but show up.
Show up.
Show up. Show up.
Yeah, you need to follow that.
Hey, what's good? What's good? Check this out. So Rose tells her side of the story. Tuesday, we get a text from Debbie. She's dropping me off to work, and I'm saying we might have to evacuate. And it's kind of like a first responders type situation that I'm in at work. So I was supposed to cover the first half of the storm, and then I would come home and get relief. So Rose tells me, all right, we're going to go to the hotel. So I'm like, cool. That's what it is. We're going to go to the hotel, make reservations. No, first of all, what she did was she waited. She watched that television so much I couldn't watch TV. Mm-hmm. I'm like, no, I'm not going to watch it. I'm going to just look at my regular shows or whatever I'm going to do on my I'm gonna do whatever I do on the iPad. So from Tuesday until Friday, she's saying, well, the storm isn't gonna get here. The storm, we done been through storms. Like she said, we were raised in Miami. We went through Hurricane Andrew. So in my mind, I'm like, okay, what are you gonna do? Are you gonna get out of town? We can call. We'll send you up to Atlanta because I'm gonna go to evacuate it. Now I'll be back. So that Friday, I could see that she's really, really into this news thing and is really getting to it. So I'm working at that period. At that point, I'm working like 17-hour days and just coming home just to get enough sleep to start over tomorrow. And in between that, I'm trying to do everything to get the house situated. So we didn't buy any wood. We didn't think about evacuating. So finally, she tells me, Vaughn, we can't go anywhere at this point. I'm like, yeah, I tried to tell you that. She goes into panic mode. So I have the dude for my job to go to Home Depot. I give him some money to go get some wood. And, if he can find it, put it up. If you can't, don't worry about it. We had a plan. We were going to, during the storm, the kids and the family would sit in the hallway of our apartment. Then she called and she says, we made reservations at the hotel. I'm like, yeah, I knew that. You act like you forgot all about it. You know what I mean? I'm like, so I thought that, I'm thinking that wasn't an option for her. You know what I'm saying? I'm thinking that's something that's just totally, in my mind, I'm like, I'm not even in my mind, I've actually verbalized, I'm like, you already told me, like, we good. Like, the Lord has already made way for where we at, right? So usually what happens is the wife tells the husband and reminds the husband of what God says. So I remind her, like, listen, you told me that this is how this is supposed to go, right? And then she kind of like calms down. Now, mind you, I get up out of town, I'm maybe 3 hours away, and I'm starting to worry because the storm is actually gonna hit Naples, and I know for a fact it's gonna hit Naples, and I'm here at work and my family is away, so I'm calling every opportunity I get. I'm at a facility where I'm not supposed to have my cell phone, so I'm running back and forth. I'm taking a break every hour, and I'm calling, and I call during the storm. I see it on the news that the storm is right about like an hour away from Naples. I call, and Rose answers the phone, and I can hear the music in the background, and they're having a good time. So she hangs up and she FaceTimes me, so I can see she's upstairs on the second floor, and I can see DJ X downstairs doing his thing. He in his zone, doing this little thing. Yeah, he got his little thing going on. I'm jealous. Now I'm mad. I really want to get I personally want to get to the hurricane because I'm missing a big party, right? Because now I know for a fact, like without a shadow of a doubt, my family is safe and secure. I felt like, thank you, Lord, it's done. You know what I mean? So I think I stayed over after the storm like 2 days. And the night, I got to tell this part, Trista. I know it doesn't. I do.
All right.
I do. Listen, so after the storm, I come in maybe 2 days later, and it's 8 or 9 o'clock-ish.
10.
And yeah,
It was 10.
maybe 10 o'clock.
It was.
And I'm coming in the front door, and I can hear Trista, and I hadn't seen her. I can hear her, and as I look up, there's a guy standing in front of her, and they're almost like I don't know what you call it, gridlock face, like.
I was in his face.
Listen, I had never seen Trista like this. First of all, no, I'm telling the story. The first night I came, I saw you working the front desk. And I went up and I told Rose, I said, man, I got an opportunity to see Trista in her element. Like actually,
Right, like
you guys see the element that's kingdom. You guys don't see the business side of her. I saw her in that element, and I was like blown away. I'm like, yeah, she's great at what she does. Calm, collective, so on and so forth. So that night, and it had to be after 10 o'clock. The following night, I come in because we still hadn't had lights. The family were had gone to my sister-in-law's house, and Trista's in gridlock with a dude. Dude's as big as I am. So
no, he wasn't. I could have taken him. You were much bigger than him.
Trista, I thought I was gonna have to take it.
Me too.
And I was willing to. It took everything in me not to like step in. But once again, we're a family. And like Deja said, the things that we say, or you hear any one of us say, we really mean that. Like, we don't just like get together because there's a storm or get together because there's a webinar. We're always in contact with each other. If somebody has something going on, whether it's good or bad, we're always there to support and help that. So when I saw Trista in gridlock, it's like, okay, I'm going to protect her. So I will protect. And I'm there like, buddy, I wish you would just say anything wrong. If your voice raises one more time, but I have to let Trista, this is her hotel. I have to let Trista handle her business, you know what I'm saying? And not take it to my level of understanding. But I saw her handle and she gave me the eye like, Vaughn, like, I got this. And I'm like, okay, I will make sure that you have it. But at the same time, the biggest portion of it was just being able to see for me, being able to see her operate within her gift. This is another gift that Trista has. That's why it's such a success. So I was able to see that, and whether it was a calm situation or an elevated situation, she was still handling her business, and I respect that. You know what I mean? So for me, the biggest part of the kingdom in me was being able to reassure my wife, even though she got on my nerves and I got on her nerves because we saw things totally different. I knew that we were going to be okay, and even so, whatever God had intended with the storm, it was going to happen. You know what I mean? So we just needed to be not reactive, but just know that, listen, and I think that's an issue with the way we're raised in religion, because we're reactive. We wait till something happens. We wait till our sons are in jail, then we start praying for them. You know what I mean? We don't do anything to be proactive to prevent that. And that's the same thing that we do in most cases. Well, in this case, the plan was already in effect. We already knew it. You know what I mean? For most of us. And me, like she said, she forgot it, I forgot it. But I knew it was safe. When she said it, I'm like, okay, boom, that's what it is. Make it happen. You know what I mean? Of course, being human, we do, I got to worry about my family. I'm their protector. I have to worry about them. But when it all boiled down, just a phone call saying, hey, man, I'm in the wrong place. I should be there. You know what I mean? So, but all in all, listen, man, believe in it. You hear me?
That's right. And last but not least, we have Deborah K. Horner.
Oh, gosh.
Deborah.
My mama ain't here. Well, I'm from Texas. Everybody knows I'm from Houston, Texas. So I grew up living through hurricanes as well. As I was growing up, we would stand out on the front porch, and everybody here has heard the story. We would watch the trees go back and forth, and we've lived without power, and we all survived. We were much younger back then, but the only time we ever left Houston for a storm was after my mom passed away. My brother-in-law was very concerned that we were on the path for a direct hit straight up through Galveston, right up 45. So we left. That was the only time we ever ran, and I ran out of gas. And from that point on, I just said, I'm never going to run again. So I did the preparations that I had to. I kept getting texts and calls from my family in Houston. As everybody knows, they just went through Harvey. So they were concerned, but leaving wasn't an option for me. I had a leak in my roof at the condo, and it hadn't been fixed yet. That was my only concern about my condo. So I moved things out of the way, valuables that I had, and we moved into the hotel and went straight to work. Literally went straight to work and didn't stop. And I think the highlights for me were the community coming together to help out. No matter what it was, cleaning rooms, picking up trash, taking trash out, it didn't matter. Brittany was working the front desk. She never knew how to, but she does. And it was very calming for me in the sense that this is somebody that's never seen this before. Even though I've seen it numerous times, it was just so enjoyable to watch it come through. And then, after it's gone through, it's back to work. Even though we lost power, things still had to be handled. Things still had to be managed. People were still here, and even people from MHK, Matthew's company, helped out. They were the men that were changing the bed linens that we done like that. But they tried, and I think that's the biggest point here is that the community, everybody pitched in, and we were all here together. And if somebody had a problem, we were here to help them. And Trista was very gracious to open up the hotel to anybody that needed a place of refuge.
There were so many people.
There were, and the stories are endless. I had no idea what I was going to go back to, whether I was going to have, a condo, a roof fall in. But, I said, God, it's your property. It's not mine. You gave it to me. You gave it to me for a specific purpose, and it's yours to use as you direct me to. And when I drove back, the day after the hurricane hit, I just had to get out. I had cabin fever. So I got up really early and I started getting dressed, and I went and drove to my condo, and there's trees everywhere, and I couldn't get to it except for a back way. And my place was fine. I still have water leaks, but the roof is there. Everything's in perfect condition. And I had a place to sleep with air conditioning and power, and I could charge my phone, and I didn't have to wait in line for gas. I didn't have to go anywhere for food. So through all this, my family and I conversed off and on, and they were not happy that I stayed, but my sister understood. Of all of them, she understood the most because she knew that I was safe. She knew where I was, and she knew that I was doing what I'm supposed to be doing, and that is serving the community. And so I wouldn't have gone anywhere. Even if Trista would have evacuated, I would have stayed, because I know this is somebody has to stay,
and somebody has to help, and she has
Okay.
responsibility.
Unless it's a 5.
She has 2 little ones, and when she told me she wasn't evacuating, I was like, okay, God, this is really you, because she has responsibilities here, but those children are her responsibility first and foremost, and her family should come first. So I was glad she was staying, because I wanted her here, but yeah.
Okay, so final words, everybody. You've heard from everybody. Thank you, everyone, for sharing your thoughts, your experience, your input, and also for helping during the storm, after the storm, making the beds, and doing everything. Brittany answering phones, Debbie doing payroll. You guys, my bookkeeper was gone for 2 weeks, didn't come back. 2 weeks. So we still have bills to pay. You still have electricity to keep on. You still got people to pay. So thank goodness Debbie was here and just pitched in. Brittany was answering phones. It's kind of fun at the front desk, isn't it?
It is.
I know. It really is. People
Did
don't
you
know.
know everybody that was staying?
Yeah, it's fun to get
We
to
have
know.
the best people in the world staying here, too.
It was nice. So I remember thinking before the storm came, I was like, you know what? My faith is not in a spaghetti plot. And I kept saying that to myself. And I had a complete peace, but I knew the storm was coming. But I go, it doesn't matter regardless. My faith is not in a spaghetti plot. Wherever it comes, if it comes directly to us, wherever it goes, if it doesn't, it didn't matter. And I want to tell you that, and I said this in the last webinar, but I think you guys heard it from here also, that none of our property was damaged. And I'll tell you why. It's the king's property. He owns it. It's his property. So, of course, he's going to take care of what belongs to him. And that's what I love about it. And I have to tell you, I've been very saddened through this experience because even right now, if you drive to my house, all of my neighbors were flooded out. And they're still affected by it. They can't live in their homes because the mildew, they have to redo the drywall. And the foliage is like a jungle if you come to my house. Have you been to my house?
Yes.
Who's been there? Have you seen?
Yeah.
It's like, because my neighbors had the highest, it's like a jungle you have to drive through. Do you know I don't have one branch out in my yard? We had nothing that had, not even a tree branch was damaged.
Just a shrub.
And we tied it up.
Simple fix.
I took a picture of it. So we tied the shrub up with a rope, and it's fine. So we don't have not even one branch out by the road. And my neighbors and everyone, I'm like, oh my gosh. So my issue is, okay, one thing, the principles of God work. He protects what belongs to him. We're all protected. Our properties were protected. But then you're surrounded by tons of people that are suffering. And that's where I had issues. Because then you also feel the weight of their suffering also. And I think that was my biggest struggle. So the last time you guys saw me on that darn live stream I did, I think I cried the whole thing. I was so embarrassed. But it was 2 weeks of carrying that weight also and feeling some responsibility because of the resources that we do have. And there's so many, especially the elderly, that was the biggest thing. And right now, that's where my heart goes to Puerto Rico. Get in the hospitals. There's people that aren't going to make it because that heat, they have heat indexes. I've been watching the news. You guys don't, I think we all empathize because we lived it, even though we had air conditioning here. But when we left, it was horrible. And you see the devastation. You see the desperation for people. It was a desperation. And that's what I witnessed that really impacted me the greatest. So going forward, it was like as if this was a mini
Apocalypse.
perhaps that's extreme, but yes,
What they thought it was
a trial run apocalypse.
Yes.
Yes, trial run.
I mean, if you think about it, like when you drive through the city, it was just like lights were out. I mean, trees were down. People were boarded up. There was not a soul outside. And there's no stores open. There's no gas stations open. I mean, and people are just like, they're desperate for food and gas.
Yes. And you guys have to understand there's no internet. They couldn't take credit cards. So the stores that were open that had a generator running so you could get food, you had to have cash.
And the ATMs were down.
ATMs were down. But and then it got worse as we got into the weeks because then the sewage became a problem. It was backing up.
Yeah.
So they were turning people's water off. So literally we were transformed into a third world nation for a moment.
Yeah.
And it changes your reality. So then that's why my heart goes out to Puerto Rico. We only had 2 weeks of being a third world country. Lord have mercy on them. I can't even express.
All those Caribbean islands.
Yeah, all the islands. But thank you, Lord, for your protection over what belongs to you, our properties, and we were able, all of us, to be a refuge and to help. And it was amazing because within 26 hours, we had power, we had internet, we had ATM, we had gas. I have a gas truck here with a tank on it, 250 gallons of fuel. So
Same
we
with
never,
television.
huh?
The television never went out. Cable television.
No, it did. About 2 days.
A couple days without.
Cable. But we were working so hard, it didn't matter.
Yeah, I
You
got
know,
I was
we didn't,
watching the news.
I didn't know if we had news or not. So we were disconnected from the real world per se because our real world was in our face. So we were disconnected for a few weeks from real world, meaning social media, seeing what's going on out there. And it was interesting because it seemed like everybody's lives just kept going. And they're posting all this fun stuff and all these amazing things that are happening, which we celebrate with you. And then we were here in our own world witnessing people's desperation and suffering. And that was, I think, the biggest challenge I had. But it was a trial run, I think, of things that may happen again in our lifetime, whether it's a storm or not, or nuclear war. I mean, you just don't know. You never know. We don't know. So I learned a ton, and it helped change my perspective quite a bit on the grand scheme of things.
One thing, Trista, that I recognized through this too, you didn't hear anything about politics, religion, race. It was nothing. It was like everyone helped everyone. I said that was probably almost the greatest 2 weeks I've ever gone through because I didn't have to hear about
None of that.
anything racial, nothing political.
And it didn't matter.
It didn't matter. When you don't have anything, it doesn't matter.
Yes.
And
It was like a nice break from the news
yes.
and the
And you just got
chaos.
to literally just be with people.
Yes.
Everyone was level at the same time.
Yeah.
We all
Everybody
became
got-
humans.
Everyone got brought back down to being
Yes.
humble.
Listen,
Yes.
just, you guys don't know the half of it. You guys know that we're the only blacks that live in our neighborhood, right? And the homeowner association president we've been there 3 years. Never speaks. If I open my garage, she reports it to the homeowners association. She is
Leave it open.
if I leave it open, like she actually called the people and said, I think somebody's living in the garage. A couple years ago. She's our best friend now. You know why? Because every day when I came home from work, I would bring her 5 gallons of ice.
Yeah. That's
All the
huge.
neighbors.
All the neighbors. You guys
They
here.
were senior
You guys need this. You know what I mean? Here, like we've been blessed to not have to endure, but I want to make sure that you guys are comfortable too.
Yeah.
Guess what? Right now,
Yeah.
she is.
You're the hero. Let me tell you.
You're the hero.
I'm telling you, Matthew's usually the hero in our community, and the roles got reversed, and people were thanking me for and he thought they were talking to him, and I go, no, honey. They were looking at me and talking to him. He's like, oh. So I go through the neighborhood, and everybody's like, Trista, hi! Even the teenagers, hi, Trista! And I'm like, Matthew, now I'm the hero. How's it feel? So it's funny as a community, as a family, how all of us have been able to truly be a light. Because that first night, like Xavier was saying, we had lights.
Yeah.
Now you guys don't know this, but the Hyatt is only 1 year old, and it's right. We can see the Hyatt from here, and my husband actually designed it. He's not the builder, construction. He's the architect. They had a leak in their roof, a 1 year old building, and ours, the hotel's 35-year-old building. We've never had any damage from any hurricane ever. And the Hyatt had to evacuate their people, 1 year old, brand new building.
Wow.
1 year construction had to evacuate, and they were coming here for a refuge. So it was just The testimonies are everywhere. Everybody had a story, and I want to finish with this. 2 things. And by the way, there were people here panicking before the storm came.
Yeah.
Because we had to comfort them. It was absolutely amazing. It wasn't, but you could see it in their eyes, like fear of death. Like you could see it and panic. I've never witnessed that in person. You see, I'm going to finish with 2 things as we finish, of course. The wise and the foolish builders. Therefore, everyone who hears these words and puts them into practice is a wise man who built his house on the rock. We all know that. The rains came, the storm came, and blew and beat against the house, yet it did not fall because its foundation was on the rock. They put it into practice. So as we know the story, the storm hit both people who heard and applied the principles of God and those that didn't. And here we were a witness physically, literally to those who didn't and those of us who our lives are built on the foundation. And witnessing those that don't have the same foundation we do, it's heartbreaking. It's because they are numerous and they're everywhere, and it's just heartbreaking. So the storm came and hit everybody. Finally, we have to announce our author, Rose Martin Young, published the first book. We are so excited for her. So Rose, tell us where we can get the book. What website?
Well, right now the website is in progress. It's thinkupwithrose.com. But right now you can get the book from Facebook, the Think Up with Rose Facebook page, and you can purchase your book there. It's $19.95 plus tax. And please do share your feedback, what you're getting, your reading experience, and happy reading.
Yeah, so we can find it on
Think Up with Rose Facebook page, the Facebook page.
Think Up with Rose.
One word.
Yeah.
One word on Facebook. We're going to post it up here. Think Up with Rose so you guys can see it, get her book. I have read her story, the manuscript. I read probably half of it. The beginning half and then the end. But the beginning half I couldn't put down. I have little kids, so I had to stop at some point. But it's an amazing book. It's an amazing story. And let me tell you guys, everybody should read this book because there are going to be so many people in your lives that you know that need to read it and can be inspired from her story. Her story is amazing. So I recommend you read it. Get it for gifts for people. Christmas is coming up. Do whatever you can. Do it. Read it. Put a little blog about it. You guys, I have to tell you, everybody's story is so important. And I encourage everybody in our community to write a book. Everybody has one book in them in their lifetime. So it's so important because you can affect so many people that you will never meet just by writing your story. So I highly recommend read it. You can even put a blog or a little note about the importance of what you got out of this. And so other people can be inspired. Or maybe there's somebody that's on social media is going through some of the issues that are addressed in here. And there is an answer and a solution. And Rose put it in this book. It's an amazing book. Look how good her picture is on the back. I love that picture. It's so pretty. You're beautiful anyway, but those colors are nice. So thank you guys for joining us. We went over 10 minutes, but I wanted everybody to hear the story from everybody in our community and the importance of a community and how you can make it and be a beacon of light through the storms that come when you're faced with them. And that's where your testimony is. Anybody can talk, anybody can put cute sayings on Facebook and positive thinking and all that trendy stuff that's going on. But when the rubber hits the road and people are dealing with real life situations, real life crisis, they're suffering, they're depressed, they don't know where to turn, they'll be able to see God in you, in your life, not just but what we say or what we post on Facebook. So I love you guys. Stay in right standing. Be prepared for the storms because they are coming, but you're only as strong, right? As the test you survive. All right, guys, take care. We'll see you. Love you guys. Bye-bye.
Bye. There we go.